are independent. We cannot be interdependent. And how do we do that? Well, we move up the maturity continuum. All right, and how do we do that, or what is the maturity continuum? We're going to find out this and more on today's live. Welcome to Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. My name is Pia McAdams. Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. This is where we're doing 5-minute exercises, one each for the mind, the body, and the soul. And how we're doing that is for the mind portion, we're actually reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. And then when we move on to the body, we're going to be doing a 5-minute yoga routine. And then for the soul, we'll be doing a 5-minute guided meditation. Good morning. It's good to see you. My name is Pia McAdams. I'm an author, and I'm also an accounting professor and a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and also fitness. I help people reach their goals. And how do I do that? Well, one way is by transforming yourself and just by taking baby steps, which is the premise of this broadcast right here. And sorry, I'm like kind of laughing at it. There's so many things that are like going on in the background that anyways, it's an inside joke. All right, so let's talk about the maturity continuum. Remember, we're reading the book. Let's see if I still have it here. I want to show you what it looks like. There we go. Let's put it like this. I'm sorry, it's like all blurry or, all shiny and it's backwards, but you see it. It's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, again, written by Dr. Stephen Covey. And we've been talking about this or discussing this book about all month long, and we're going to continue on. We still have a few more days, and we're actually now doing an overview. So when we talk about the maturity continuum, it is actually a model that Dr. Covey uses to talk about the sequential and progressive nature of those 7 habits. So as you can see, we're starting to move on to talking about those 7 habits. So today we're going to be giving an overview. So when you think in terms of maturity, you think in terms of what? Growth and development. Whereas with continuum, you think in terms of progression, right? So it's a progressive growth and development. Well, what are we growing and developing from? From dependence to from dependence to independence to interdependence. That's the maturity continuum that Dr. Stephen Covey is talking about. All right, so let's talk about dependence first. Now, at one point in our lives, we were all dependent upon someone else, right? Think in terms of when you were a baby, as a toddler, you couldn't fend for yourself, right? You had this attitude of you take care of me, you do this, you get what I want. It's the paradigm of you, right? But then as we grow up, or most of us, we grow up, then you learn or are taught how to become independent, right? This is where you start to fend for yourselves. This is where you develop the attitude of I am responsible. And this is where, the habits start to kick in. You learn about, being proactive versus being reactive, right? And then you also understand and how to begin with the end in mind. And then you understand the importance of putting first things first, right? Well, this is what Dr. Stephen Covey calls a private victory. And if you remember from yesterday, I said that a private victory precedes a public victory. Well, what does that mean? Well, inner success comes before outer success. This is that inside out approach that I've been talking about. Okay, so when we talk about interdependent or independence, we're actually talking about the paradigm of I. So I. So we move from dependence, which is you, to independent, which is I. Now, for some of us, it stops right there. But if you actually continue to mature on the continuum, the maturity continuum, and go to the interdependence, oh man, now this is a different ball game right here. So Dr. Covey says the interdependence is actually where the public victory comes in. This is where you realize that in order to reach the ultimate success, you need people. It can't just be about you, or I should say about the I, right? Because the you was the dependent. You already graduated from being dependent. So now you're independent. It can't just be about the I. We now need to incorporate a we. What can we accomplish together? How can we combine our talents? Okay, so it's that whole paradigm of we. And that's where the success comes. All right, so that's the public victory, the outward victory. Now, understand that in the interdependence, this is where we get on the remaining habits. Okay, this is where we understand how to think win-win. Okay, so we put ourselves in win-win situations. We seek first to understand before we're understood, and then we what else we do? tell you. You know what it is? I'll just be honest. Okay, so you know when I go out to do, if you've been watching me, I go out and do the yoga, right? And I have two lights there. Actually, I have two lights here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not just kind of off on a tangent, but I just had to tell you because I keep laughing because there's a reason why. But I have two lights that are shining on me right now. And so when I go out and do the yoga, I also have two lights shining on the mat. Well, one of the lights, it just went out, but it's making like this humming noise. And so that's kind of like distracting me because I'm hearing it even though the doors are closed. All right. So anyway, let's get back to interdependence. So it's during this stage when we learn to think win-win. This is also during the stage where we seek first to understand before we're understood. We understand the importance of synergizing. And then finally, we sharpen the saw. Okay. So that's when the ultimate success comes. And you know, when it comes to the maturity continuum, Dr. Stephen Covey relates it to, you know, the 7 habits. Like this is how we move up from dependence to independence to interdependence, right? But really that maturity continuum could be applicable to just about anything, right? Think in terms of being married, right? Now seriously, think about this. In a marriage, you have two people, but imagine if one of the two people was dependent upon the other one, okay? That's not going to work. Let me tell you why. Because for one thing, that dependent person is going to feel depressed because remember, as adults, we're supposed to be independent. So if you're dependent on someone, at some point you're going to kind of lose yourself and it's going to lead to depression. And then even for that independent person, they're going to start resenting that dependent person because it's like, you know, I'm taking care of a grown person. And so I think, you know, honestly, I think this is one of the reasons that marriages don't work is in that aspect. If you have a person that's dependent and another person that's independent. Well, let's look at the other side. Let's say that you have two independent people. Well, let me explain to you how marriages can fail in that instance as well. Because even though the two people may know how to fend for themselves and how to take care of themselves, you know, one is not dependent on the other. Because you're having that I attitude, it's like you're parallel like this. You may sometimes come together, but for the most part, you're parallel. Now, I've been married and divorced, and I think for us, that was our, you know, looking back, that was us. We were both independent people, but we were like this. And we would come together sometimes, but for the most part, we were like this. And what happens when you're like this? The tendency is one of two ways, right? It's either here or here. All right. And guess what? Most likely, because of society, it's going to be this way, and hence the divorce. Now, if you then mature on or continue on the maturity continuum and you think in terms of we with the marriage, it's still in the two independent people, right? But now they combine their efforts, they combine their talents, they combine their skills, and now it's a we, and now they have a successful marriage. Now, let's go back to the dependent person and the independent person. You may counter, well, Pierre, that's not fair. What about people that are handicapped or you know, for instance, what if the mom, you know, decides, let's say it's a mother, no, let's say this, stop stuttering. Let's say that we have a male and a female, right? And let's say that the male decides to go and work and support the female, and the female decides to stay home and raise the children. And you may say, well, that may be their choice. And what I'm saying, guys, is this. Understand that, remember, inside out approach. You can be dependent physically, but mentally is where you need to be independent. So I'm not talking about people that are handicapped, or I'm not talking about marriages where, you know, they make the choice for one spouse to stay home. That's okay. It's okay to be physically dependent on someone, right? Because again, if you're handicapped, you may need to be, or in that instance where you're taking care of the children, you may be, you know, need the money from one versus two. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your mental capacity. In your mind, you must maintain your independence because you cannot move from dependence to interdependence. You can't do that. You have to be, the choice has to be from independent to interdependence. Okay, that's the only way it's going to work. All right, so hopefully this was helpful for you. And let me just kind of sum this up for you. In our society today, we actually have the paradigm of being independent, right? But what we're going to find that if you move to the interdependence, this through cooperation and specialization, that's when you're going to catapult your success. Okay, seriously, catapult is going to take it to a different level because it's not all about the I, it's about the we, right? And this process is going to be slow and it's going to be evolutionary, right? But the net effects is going to be revolutionary. All right, so we are now starting tomorrow going to dive into the 7 habits. I gave an overview today if you're listening, right? Let's go ahead and go give an overview because we'll then be discussing each of these for the next 7 days. So the first one was to be proactive. The second one was to begin with the end in mind. The third one is to put first thing first. The fourth one is to think win-win. The fifth one is, and this is 5 is my number. The fifth one is to first seek to understand and then be understood. Number 6 is to synergize, and number 7 is to sharpen the saw. All right, so those are your 7 habits. In an overview, remember, it's moving up the maturity continuum scale from dependent to interdependent. I keep going. From dependence to independence to interdependence. And it starts off like those habits don't even start off until you're in the independent spectrum of that scale. Okay, so dependence, we're not talking about the habits. We're talking about the habits from the independent standpoint. Okay, so that's when we talk about being the proactive, the begin with the end in mind, and then putting first things first. Those are what's going to be in the independent spectrum. And then when we move on to the paradigm of interdependence, this is where we're going to think win-win. We're going to seek first to understand before we're being understood. We're going to synergize, and then we're going to sharpen our saw. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the yoga portion of the segment. And guys, thank you for taking time to watch this live and laugh. And going to move over into the total darkness here, because as I mentioned before, one of my 2 lights are out. And it does that. Like, it's, you know what's kind of ironic? Sometimes when that light goes out, it's like it reminds me of something, because I'll go in there, you know, because sometimes it just randomly kind of go out on me. See, I just turned off one of my lights. And then I'll go out to the room and I forgot something. Like I forgot to turn the iPad on or something like that. But this one, see, can you hear it? Can you hear that little humming noise? Maybe not. Let me go a little closer. But I can hear it like all the way in another room. Okay, see, can you hear it? All right, there we go. There, see, lights on. All right, so we're gonna move on to the yoga portion. And this is just gonna be a 5-minute yoga routine. And today we're going to start in mountain pose, so Tadasana. So you want to make sure that your feet are together or slightly, you know, apart, hip distance apart, which is my preference. Just make sure that you're grounded, so you're standing up nice and tall. Your chest is lifted, your shoulders are drawn back. Think in terms of squeezing those shoulder blades together. Okay, so I like to use the string analogy, where pretend like there's a string from the top of your head pulling all the way up, from the bottom of your feet pulling all the way down. And the string that's from pulling to the bottom of your feet is actually the root. Okay, so I want you to think in terms of a root that's growing from the bottom of your feet, going all the way down through the floor, all the way down to the middle earth. Okay, Mother Earth right in there, and it's wrapping itself around Mother Earth and it's grounding yourself. And then so now it's your job to do on the top portion of the earth, where you're going to make sure you stand up nice and tall, so draw the shoulders down and back, and then lift up your chest. Your head is a natural alignment of the spine, and your hands are just down. And then I want you to just take a nice deep breath here, nice deep Ujjayi breath. Remember, with Ujjayi breathing, as you inhale, your belly is expanding, your chest is lifting as the lungs are filling with oxygen, and you're inhaling through your nose. And then as you're exhaling through your mouth, lips slightly ajar, your chest is collapsing and your belly is falling back into its normal place as the diaphragm returns back to its original position. So just kind of hold the deep, do a couple deep breaths in this Tadasana position. Mentally, you're going inside, looking internally, seeing what's happening in your body. If there's any tension, any stress, any negativity, anything that's going on internally, get in touch with your body during this Tadasana position. This is your root position, okay? This is your grounding position. So get yourself grounded. Also during this time frame, as you continue to do that, you start to relax and release any tension or stress, or just, you know, you may not want to at this time. You may just want to be aware of it, which is okay. Remember, do what feels good for you. But I do want you to set some intentions. So think in terms of intentions for this yoga sessions. What is it that you want to accomplish? All right, so think on that for a moment as I'm talking here. And I'm going to get the music together, which I'm supposed to be doing right now. All right, so think in terms of what you want to accomplish for this next 5 minutes. Okay? And today we're going to be using the sounds of the ocean, which is kind of nice. Since living here in Southern California, I have the option of doing that. All right, so again, Tadasana, and let's get started. palms together at heart center. Go ahead and set your intentions. Give me a couple of deep ujjayi breaths. And release your fingertips down toward your sides. Draw the breath in, taking a deep breath. Hands go overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to dive the body forward to a forward fold, Uttanasana. As we inhale, we're going to look up halfway, flatten out the back, tailbone sticking toward the back of the room. And as you exhale, just kind of forward fold. And then let's go ahead and slowly round it up, taking it one vertebrae at a time. Rotate those shoulders down and back. Make sure that your head is the last to rise. Let's do that again. Nice deep breath. Inhaling, arms go overhead. And as you exhale, dive the body forward to a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Slowly round it up, taking it one vertebrae at a time. Inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, flatten out the back. Inhale, take it all the way up. Give me a little arch if you can. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Flatten out the back. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Flatten out the back. This time, inchworm out to the plank. And then fingertips back, or inchworm back to your toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Inchworm out to the plank. Take it back, fingertips toward the toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Flatten out the back. Inchworm out to the plank and hold the plank. 2 deep breaths. Make sure your fingers are spread out nice and wide. Palms directly underneath your shoulder and your weight is toward your heels. Now go ahead and release your knees, your chest and your chin, or you can chaturanga dandasana. And then inhale to upward facing dog. Relax the shoulders, take them away from the ears. Micro elbows or soften the elbows if you need to. Now curl the toes under and let's take it to downward facing dog. And begin to pedal your legs. Now remember, you can modify your stance and take it to a wide-legged downward facing dog. Alright, let's go ahead and try to get those heels down. Press your chest toward your thighs and your knees. Now let's come up on the top of our toes. And then roll down through the balls of your feet all the way down to the heels. Press your chest toward your thighs and your knees. Let's do that again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll down through the balls of your feet all the way down to the heels. Try to press them down and toward the mat. One more time, come up on the top of your toes. This time we're going to lean over to one side, bending that same knee, getting a nice gentle stretch here. Try to keep your head in alignment with your bicep. Pressing your chest toward the thighs and the knees. And return back to the center and take it all the way down. Come up on the fingertips, walk them back to your toes. Let's inhale up halfway. flatten out the back. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Now look up halfway. Exhale to Uttanasana. Inchworm out to the plank and hold the plank. 2 deep breaths. Middle fingers are facing forward, thumbs are facing in. Your weight is towards your heels, belly button in towards your spine. Knee, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. And then curl the toes under. And exhale to downward facing dog. And start to pedal. Remember, use your breath. Downward facing dog, like to remind you, is a resting position. If this is too much strain or stress, feel free to release your knees down to tabletop or take it to child's pose. Come up on the top of our toes. Roll down through the balls of your feet, all the way down toward those heels. Let's do that again. Really stick that tailbone out toward the ceiling or toward the back of the room, and then roll down through to those heels. One more time, come up. This time we're going to lean toward the opposite direction, bending that same leg. Nice gentle stretch here. And then return back to the center and release it down. Let's go ahead and bend our knees down toward the mat and extend those legs. Again, drop the knees down toward the mat and extend those legs. One more time. Draw the knees down toward the mat and extend those legs. Come up on the fingertips. Walk them back to your toes. Just forward fold into Uttanasana for a moment here. Inhale, flatten out the back. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Inhale, look up. Flatten out the back, forward fold. Inchworm to the plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to the plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Let's use the Sanskrit. Ardha Mukha Savasana, downward facing dog. And let's stay here. Let's go ahead and bring that left leg in toward your chest and extend that left leg all the way back. Bend the knee to open up the hip. Continue to breathe. Nice deep Ujjayi breath. Extend that leg. Let's bring that foot all the way in toward the fingertips. Turn this right foot in so it's kind of perpendicular. And let's take it up to Virabhadrasana. Relax those shoulders. Draw your shoulder blades. Or squeeze your shoulder blades in together. You're doing extension nice and long from fingertip to fingertip. Draw your hips down. This is a great pose to open up those hips. Right here. Relax those shoulders and make sure that you're breathing. Let's go ahead and reverse the warrior. On the inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. This time as we exhale, we're going to straighten out the leg, front leg. Extend your body all the way forward. Drop that left hand toward your chin. Right arm goes up. Your gaze follows your thumb. If it's too much strain or stress, look forward or look down. This is Virabhadrasana, triangle pose. Continue to breathe. All right, rotate it forward. And let's go to pyramid. Relax the shoulders, armpits pressing down toward the mat. And if you need to, slight bend on the knee. You can also adjust your leg by bringing in a tad if you need to. And again, depending on your flexibility. Now go ahead and bend the knee, flatten out the palms, and let's take it back to the plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to downward facing dog and hold it here. Alright, time for the opposite knee to come in toward the chest and extend that leg all the way back. Bend the knee to open up the hip a little more. Remember, continue to breathe. Use your breath to help you to get into these poses. Now extend that right leg straight out and then bring that right foot toward the fingertips. Turn the left leg in perpendicular. Press the hips down and extend the arms. Nice and long. Remember, string from fingertip all the way to fingertip. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. This time as we exhale, we're going to straighten out that right leg. Extend your body all the way forward. Drop that right hand down toward the shin. Left arm goes up. Remember, your gaze follows your thumb. Virasana, triangle pose. Continue to breathe. Nice deep ujjayi breath. Draw the shoulder down. Lift up your chest. Pressing out through your hip. Lift the kneecap to engage the quadricep. And then exhale to the pyramid. Remember, if you need to, bend your knee. It's going to depend on your flexibility. As you inhale, you're just kind of holding your position. You're going internal. It's on the exhales when you're actually releasing, transitioning into the pose. Now go ahead and bend your knee. Flatten out the palms. And let's take it back to the plank. This time we're going to go through another rotation. So knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we're going to walk our toes in toward the palms. And then slowly take it up through one vertebrae at a time. Again, making sure that your head is last to rise. Then have a step back here. Come to Tadasana. We're going to go to Eagle's Pose and then just kind of do this as a beginner. And we're going to cue it to you as a beginner. So right now your feet are together, your hips are together, or actually hips are pointing straight ahead and your knees are together. Now this is going to be a balancing pose. So in this balancing pose, I want you to make sure that you find one spot and just focus on that spot. Whether it be straight ahead or straight down in front of you, doesn't matter. Just don't waver your gaze on that spot. Now as you slowly start to transition your weight toward your left leg, okay? Make sure those toes are spread out nice and wide so again, you're always grounded. Now, you're going to take this right leg, you're going to bend the knee, and you're going to wrap this right leg around this left. Now, if you can't get it around your shin, that's okay because I'm going to show you the beginner version. Just go ahead and drop the toe down as close as you can toward the heel. Again, don't waver on your glaze. Okay, stay focused. Just put the right toe down as close as you can toward that heel. You'll graduate off to actually wrapping your leg around. Now we're going to take those palms up, and then I want you to place your right elbow over your left elbow, intertwine your hands, palms come together. Fingertips go up toward the sky. Now the tendency on this pose, particularly if you're tight, is to drop those elbows down to your chest. I want you to lift up as you exhale. Now I want you to draw your breath in, continue to focus on that glaze, and as you exhale, just bend both knees. Now again, don't let the elbows drop, keep them up. Just go down to whatever feels comfortable to you. In light of talking about interdependence, I want you to get in terms of that we right here, the intertwining of the arms and of the legs of working together. Continue to breathe. All right, so go ahead and slowly take it up and release and shake it out. Now the opposite side. First start off in Tadasana. So again, your feet are together, your ankles are together, your knees are together, hips are pointing straight ahead. Toes are spread out nice and wide. Ground yourself. Give me a couple deep breaths here while I'm talking. Find your focal point, okay? And don't wave your glaze. Like even if your hands are in front, if you're focused, it doesn't matter because you're just still concentrating on that spot. You may not be able to see it, but your glaze is on that one spot. So find your spot. Now slowly start to transition your weight toward your right leg. Bend that left knee, and again, you're going to wrap it around the shin, but if you can't do it, remember, I'm going to show you the beginner version. I'm going to modify it. Just push your toe down as close as you can to the heel. Continue your glaze forward. Now, we're going to inhale. We're going to take the arms up. This time, you're going to wrap the left elbow on the right elbow, intertwine your fingers, intertwine your arms, the palms are together, fingertips are facing up toward the sky. Nice deep breath. Exhale, lift up those elbows, and also bend the knees. Remember, just go down whatever feels comfortable to you. And if you can, lift your toe up, okay? Just as a beginner, remember, over time, you'll get that foot wrapped around that shin. But right now, just balance. Keep it up. Keep the elbow up and breathe. Remember, if you start to lose your balance, just drop the toe. Don't waver your glaze. All right, slowly take it up and return back to Tadasana. Inhale, take the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive the body forward, placing the palms down flat. Walk your feet out toward the edges of the mat with your toes facing out. And then slowly drop your hips, your tailbone down toward the mat. Bring the palms together at the heart center. This is Malasana. And I want you to bow your head down. Give me a couple deep Ujjayi breaths here. Maybe give a little gratitude. Set the intention for the rest of your day. Release those hip flexors, those hip muscles, those hip joints. Use those elbows to push out on those inner thighs. Now go ahead and release the palms down toward the mat. And then slowly start to transition yourself into a comfortable seated position facing forward. Making sure that you're on your sits bones and off the fleshy part of your bottom. Fingertips are down toward the mat, hands in alignment of the spine, shoulders are drawn down and back. Take a nice deep breath, inhaling, arms go up. And as you exhale, take the fingertips down toward the mat. Again, deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. One more time, nice deep Ujjayi breath, inhaling. This time we're going to greet the palms together at the very top. Exhale down through the center. And namaste. All right, so this brings us to our meditation, our guided relaxation for our meditation. If you're just joining us, get comfortable in a nice seated position. If you're in a chair, just kind of take your shoes off. Sit comfortably in the chair with your hands in your lap. If you just finished joining me in yoga, just continue your nice seated position. Kind of close your eyes as you exhale on that next breath. And then slowly drop your chin down towards your chest. As you inhale, want your head and chest to rise. Forehead goes up toward the sky. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your chin down toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, your head and chest lift up. Forehead goes up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your chin down toward your chest. Again, take a nice deep breath. Inhaling, your head goes up, forehead goes up toward the sky. And this time as you exhale, bring your head forward so it's a natural extension of your spine. Keep your eyes closed and continue to breathe. Nice deep Ujjayi breaths. Now I want to draw your attention to your feet. On your next inhale breath, I want you to squish your toes up really, really tight. Like scrunch your feet up. Hold it. And then as you exhale, go ahead and release it. Go ahead and wiggle those toes. Now I want you to relax your ankles. Draw the tension to your calves. Your knees. Your thigh muscles. Squeezing tight on the inhale and relax, release on the exhale. Now your buttocks. And your pelvic area. If there's any thoughts that are rambling in your mind, just gently push them aside and just focus on your breathing, focus on your breath. On the next inhale, draw your attention towards your back. Notice any tightness, any tension, any stress. And as you exhale, just release and relax. All the tension, just let it flow out from you. Again, if there's any thoughts that are popping along in your mind, just gently push those aside. Just continue to focus on your breath. Now go ahead and hunch up your shoulders up toward your ears. And then as you exhale, relax and release. Let all the tension and stress just drain off from your shoulders. Now your neck and your jaw, relax. Now the muscles that are in your face. And then finally, your forehead. Just release and relax. You're doing good. Go ahead and take those shoulders, hunch them up one more time. And then release. Just drain all the remaining tension, stress, or negativity that's in your body. Just exhale it out from you. Now take a few breaths. Relax and enjoy the sensation. You're doing good. Now go ahead and give me a deep breath, inhaling through your nose. And exhale. Again, inhaling. And exhaling. One more time, nice deep breath, inhaling. And exhaling. Now go ahead and slowly open up your eyes as you release, relax, return, refreshed, and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. All right, thank you for taking the time to meditate with me, and also thank you for taking this time to watch the Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. It has been my pleasure. Guys, I apologize. I forgot to look for the word of today, so I'll go ahead and put it in the comments. But you have an enjoyable day, and I will see you the same time tomorrow. Bye.